Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. My name's Mags Warrington and I grow fruit, vegetables, flowers, plants at my home in the west of Scotland in the UK. And I make a lot of use of containers, whether it's planters, pots, troughs, variety of things, because I find that growing in containers can help you grow things that perhaps you can't grow in the ground in your garden, and it also gives you increased capacity because pots can be located in places where maybe you couldn't otherwise have flower beds or vegetable beds or whatever. So what I thought I would do today is just take you around and show you the sorts of things that I'm growing and the types of containers I use and how I go about doing it. So come along with me now and see how container gardening is really useful for growing fruit, vegetables, flowers and other plants. So Tom and I built the Liberty veg trunk yesterday, if I just pan out a bit, to replace the veg trunk that I've had for a number of years sitting on the deck just outside the kitchen. And I transplanted some seedlings that I already had. So on the furthest away left there's a sweet ball turnip, and then there's 2 rows of lettuce, and I can't remember what variety. I'll just need to check that. So now what I want to do is sow direct, because we're into May now, and even if we are in the west of Scotland, hopefully we're going to be okay to grow from seeds sown direct. The chickens are just having a fight behind me. So my plan is to sow 4 things: a radish, French breakfast, little gem lettuce, I think called chop suey greens, which is just a variety of Chinese greens that you can sort of use picking, what's the expression, cut and come again. And then some rocket, the variety is wasabi. So that's what I'm going to do. It's reasonably early on Sunday the 3rd of May and it's already a glorious day. So, excuse my shadow as I just try and see if this is going to work. Right, so the first thing is radish. I've got my seeds over here. I'll get out of the way. So I've already made a little trench. The compost is damp. Made a little trench, and my French breakfast, it's actually French breakfast 3, I'm not quite sure what the number means, and I'm just going to trickle the radish seeds into the drill. There we go. Not too many. All of a sudden, the whole neighbourhood has woken up. Right, and I'm going to use really the same technique for all of the things that I'm going to sow. I'll just cover these over now. So I have 2 packs of 5 of some gladiolus. One is called Blackjack, it's a very dark one, and the other is called Fiorentina, and that's a white one that has a sort of cerise centre to it. So I am going to plant them in these pots. Two reasons. First reason is that I can move the pots around if I need to change the location due to the sunshine or other things that are growing around them. And the second reason is I don't have an awful lot of space in my flower beds. Don't have that many flower beds, so I don't really have space to plant these in a bed. I don't know whether these pots are probably erring on not particularly deep enough, but should be okay. I mean, they'll grow okay. I just need to be careful that they don't get blown over when the flowers are very tall. So I'm going to plant them really deeply in these pots, and I'll just put 5 in each. And it's just a general purpose compost that I've got in here, and I will just, the typical little bulbs, flat in the bottom where the roots come out, and a pointy top where the stem comes out. There's actually 6 in here. So I'll do 5 around the outside and 1 in the middle. They're in a pot, so you know it doesn't really matter if they're so close together actually. So that is the blackjack, and this one is the Fiorentino. Nice and quick to do, and then I just need to top it up with compost. Okay, that's them sown, and there is one last thing for me to do, and that is to put a little bit of this on top of each pot. Normally you wouldn't have to do this, but I keep chickens, and as soon as they see a pot that's got some fresh compost in it, they hop in and they start digging it out. So I'm just going to pin that in, and that just discourages my pesky little lovable chickens to play in the pots. And when the gladiolus start growing through, I can take these off. Okay, I've got a sort of 6-cell tray here, and I've watered the compost already, and I'm going to sow some beetroot in here. And the idea is I'll sow the beetroot into the cells, maybe 3-ish beetroot seeds to each cell, and once I've got some seedlings I'll just sow the whole lot in a clump. And then what will happen is, as the beetroot grow, they sort of spread out, and if I harvest one, then the remaining 2 will get bigger, and then harvest another one and the remaining 1 will get bigger. So that's how I will do the beetroot. So I'll sow them in this 6-cell tray, and then I will transplant them probably to a trough or another form of container I have around the garden when they're ready. And the variety I'm going to sow is called Bolt Hardy, and it's a pretty safe bet where sowing beetroot's concerned. It says it's an ideal beet for early sowing as it does not bolt. Lift as young baby beets or leave to mature. So, loads of seeds. These are great, these seeds, because of course they're little You probably can't see from there, but they're not smooth, they're little lumpy seeds. And I think I'm right in saying you sometimes get multiples from the same seed. So they're a size that makes it easy to sow. And I'll just put 3 in here. I'll just top it up with some compost in a min. And I'll put 3 in here. Excellent. I'm going to do the same now for some turnip and also for some radish. With these, because they're going to grow reasonably long and they have a long taproot, I'll probably move these along quite quickly after they germinate, but we'll play that one by ear. So I have planted some celery seedlings in this trough, and they've been in there now for maybe 3 weeks, I think. And initially when they went out, I popped a little plastic cup over them just to help protect them. And actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 have come on fine, but one of them, if I point to there, that one there, has succumbed. So I've got another seedling that I'm going to pop in there now, so that we've got 6 in this trough. Okay, I have this little pot of leeks. This is leek variety Elephant, and I sowed it on the 12th of January. So I'm going to put some in this trough, and then I've got a large pot there I'm going to put the rest in. I'll just pick some of the nicer ones. That's a small one. Small ones. Oops. I'll probably get 5 in here, and maybe 4 in the pot. We shall see. So put in there a moment. That's a little one, not bothered with that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if I've got another nice big one. 5. That's a little one. Okay, so I've got the 5. What I will now do is use my trusty dibber. That's not one. Use my trusty dibber and make a deep hole where each of the leeks are going to go. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there'll be another one here. One, and one there. And one there. Okay. So now what I do is I just drop the leek in. Where do I put my dipper? Okay. Drop the leeks into the hole. There we go. Someone's got some nice gardening equipment happening. There's one. There's two. Drop one down there. There's three. There's four. And there's five. And then what I will do is just water in the hole. And that will be them planted. This is actually going to move around to the side of this raised bed. I'm going to have to put some protection around this though, because the chickens will get in and annihilate all of this. But let me just go and get my little watering can and just water in the holes so that we water in the leeks. There we go. Done. Now to the pot. There we go. And again, I'll need to think of an easy way, or a good way of stopping the chickens getting into this pot. Initially I can just put a piece of wire across the top, but it might be that I might put just a cone of wire around it, and that should do me for the rest of the season. So a friend of mine gifted me some kale plants, so I'm going to pop them in this trough here. So I've just given the trough a good water. And, oops, let's have a look at what we have where the kale is concerned. Now, I've never grown kale before, so this is a first. Obviously, I've not sown it from seed, but these are nice little kale seedlings. So how many will we go in here? One. The thing I think happens, certainly with me and probably most people that grow in containers, is they tend to cram too much in. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because what that will do is give you lots of little plants, and if there's not tons of you in the family wanting to eat the plants, actually having more smaller plants is probably a good thing, because that then means that you can harvest more regularly and have more fresh produce. That's my excuse, and I am sticking to it. So, as a consequence, how many of these I'm going to put in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to pop 5 kale in here, and we will see how it goes. Okay, that's the kale in. It's got, a long way to go before it'll be harvestable, but yeah, hopefully it will be happy in that trough. I love growing sweet peas. As a flower, I think they're fantastic. Lovely scent. The more you pick, the more you get. And I have 2 challenges when I'm growing sweet peas in the garden. The first one is location, because they need something to climb up, and there's only so many trellises that I have space for. And the second challenge is stopping things such as my chickens eating the young plants. And here is this year's effort to try and grow some sweet peas. I've got them in other places in the garden as well, but what I've got here is a pot, and then I've got a support, a sort of, which is a tube of this wire mesh, or plastic coated wire mesh, and the sweet peas should be able to grow up that fine. I've also got another tube of mesh here, and that is just to add a layer around the sweet peas to stop the chickens from eating them. It doesn't look beautiful, but once the sweet peas start clothing this, I think it will look not bad actually. And because the wire's green, you know, it isn't really so much in your face. These are the compromises that I have to make when I want to let my chickens free range in the garden, when I'm out in the garden. But I do also want to grow plants and flowers. So yeah, that's one of my sweet pea towers. Here's another one. This time it's just a bit of a wigwam of bamboo, and another tube of plastic coated wire down at the bottom to keep the chickens away. Herbs do really well in containers, and you'll see here, I'll try and keep my shadow away, not very successfully. I've got some chives and some sage, and beyond that there's some rosemary, again with some chicken protection, which, yeah, is a feature in the garden. But and in fact with herbs, I don't mind the chickens nibbling at the herbs, and they can still nibble at these herbs, but the sort of wire mesh just keeps them off it so that they don't annihilate the herbs. Now there's certain things that really do very, very well in containers, and here's an example. Here's some lettuce that are growing in, these are kitchen washing up basins. Now these ones I didn't sow in these basins, actually I've transplanted these from another part of the garden, but quite often what I will do is just, when I've got little seedlings, lettuce seedlings, I'll put them into the washing up basins, and they do brilliantly, they really do. Here we've got some tulip. This is Snowball, tulip. Here we have some turnip. This is Snowball, growing in a pot, and again they'll do fine. There's quite a lot in there, but I'll harvest some of them when they're young, and the others will get a chance to grow a little bit bigger. And here we have some beetroot. Same rules apply. I sowed in the pots, and I thinned out, and I'll continue to thin as the beetroot grows. Now something that a lot of people use containers for are potatoes, and I'm no exception. As you can see, I have got quite a few containers, tubs of potatoes. I've got first earlies, second earlies, and main crop in these tubs. Again with the gizmos on top to stop the chickens digging in the pots, but these bits of wire will come off once the plants start to develop, because the chickens won't bother with them then. I've also got a couple of pots of carrots here. There's one there, and there's another one over here. So carrots actually grow quite successfully in pots, and yeah, I do that every year. Hanging baskets are fantastic for growing fruit and veg in. And here you can see I've got some strawberries in a hanging basket here, and this has other benefits because you're less likely to get slugs attacking your produce, and the chickens can't reach it up there, which is great. There's some radishes in a pot. Radishes do brilliantly in containers. And then I've got some garlic here, a couple of different varieties. And again, garlic grows really, really well in containers. Now here's another container, another type of container that I use. And this is it's like a plastic veg trug, a little one, about 3 feet tall. And this is fantastic for growing any sort of, or a lot of types of veg. And you can see I've got lots of lettuce and I've got some parsley there. And that is the lid, so that it actually has a almost like a propagator lid, so it's great when you're still not quite you've not got the temperatures that you're looking for, and that helps protect the young plants in there. I've got another couple of types here. They're a little bit mucky looking now. That again, they're called veg trugs. And in this one I've got some more lettuce. This was an anti-squirrel device, because as well as chickens trying to get my fruit and veg, the local squirrels do as well. So I could probably take this off now, but when you've got very young plants in, they dig about, they plant nuts and, you name it, and generally are a wee bit of an annoyance, although I do love them in the garden. And in this other veg trug, more lettuce and more radish. You see, lettuce is a bit of a theme here, and it's not that I consume only lettuce in my diet, but my quail, I've got 5 quail, and they love eating lettuce, as do the chickens. So I'm growing for myself, my husband, and my chicken and quail. This planter, excuse my shadows, has a whole host of things going on. There at either end, at either corner, there's a clematis. There's a clematis there and a little one over at the other side. And in between the two, there's some sweet pea that I've sown, or transplanted, I should say. And that's sort of normal for this bed. But what I have done this year is I've added 3 raspberry canes. 2 of them seem to be happy. The third one, I think, maybe is not playing. But we'll see. And then just to fill the bit at the front, there's some snapdragon flowers and some of my, I'll get my shadow out of the way, some of my own homegrown onions. So that's going to be a busy bed as the season goes on, but hopefully it should work really well.